Live from New York. It's the show with just a drawer full of props that are about to be debuted. It's First Things First. Today, it's a horrendous statement. We should put that on our promos. Brew, did Brock Purdy silence the doubters?
Well, maybe we should ask hater number one. I mean, he's sitting across the table. Doubter number one. But no, before you go, first of all, I told you guys this was going to happen.
Take it back.
I told you this was going to happen. In fact, I think we can show it. Friday, my headline Friday, striking resemblance to me right in there.
Gonna win.
Half-baked show. Brock cooks Baker, Niners roll.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, they were 12-point favorites.
Yes, that actually happened. So let me say a little something before we turn to our hater. Before someone across the table apologizes, bends the knee, repents, yells Iowa Mafia, begs for forgiveness, whatever you're going to do, Nick, let me get to a few things.
Please.
In a franchise that features arguably, not to me, not to you, but arguably the GOAT,
greatest quarterback
Joe Montana, and another Hall of Famer, Steve Young, Brock Purdy became the only quarterback in Niners history to have a perfect passer rating when throwing more than 20 passes.
Oh, yeah.
That's special. Yeah. And he did it, Nick, and you know this, against a good defense, a top 10 scoring defense. Top 10 scoring, Wildes. You can look at the yards and get get mad, but the top 10 scoring defense.
You think the Bucs have a good defense, bro?
They only give up 9 points. They're ninth in the league in points allowed. So that's pretty good. I think that's pretty good. And it's about points.
Sure.
All right, and I don't want to hear, oh, he's got Christian McCaffrey.
Why not?
Oh, he's got Kyle Shanahan.
Why?
Oh, he's got Deebo Samuel and on Ayuk and Kittle. Here's why not. Because which one of those guys is better than Jerry Rice?
None of them.
Which one of those guys is better than Terrell Owens?
None of them.
None of them. Yeah. So we don't hold it against Montana because he had Rice. We don't hold it against Young because he had both of those guys. Is Christian McCaffrey even better than Roger? I'm not sure he's better than Roger Craig.
All right, can I ask a question, bro? I don't know how long you're going to go.
I'm not that much longer.
Okay.
Not that much longer. All right?
Okay. Can I?
So what does Brock Purdy have to do?
Okay, I'll tell you.
I get it, win the Super Bowl, but he can't win the Super Bowl now.
Got it. Can I answer?
We're at the 4:30
he has to lead a comeback. Well, he did that, and his kicker missed the field goal. All right.
What you can't do is talk for both of us. So I'll say what I would like to see him do. But first, I'm actually going to give you. I'm going to give you another chance to talk because I am very curious. Because when he was in the midst of his 3-game losing streak, you were adamant and very clear. I am not calling Brock Purdy great. I am not saying he's any of these things. I'm not saying it. But so I'm just curious because this is the burden, Wildes, of being Mr. Consistency.
What is it?
Is everyone knows where I stand, and you guys.
I don't think people doubt
you
where I
guys
stand.
are. Well, I don't know, bro. I don't know. I do the show with you.
Wildes has been the one wavering.
So
not me.
So since you said, but I mean, you wavered a little. You wavered a little. Well, you had him as MVP, and then you said he was out of the running, and my guess is in an hour you're going to say he's going to be in the MVP again.
I never said after week 5 he wasn't MVP. I never took that back.
Yeah.
Week 5 he was MVP in my book.
Yeah.
I never said, he wasn't.
And then we had a month where we were like, is he going to get benched for Darnold? Now he's the MVP again. That's fine. That's fine.
Not me, not Shanahan, not McCaffrey. I don't know.
Here's the thing, because if the question is to me, did Brock Purdy silence me? The answer is no, and I will explain why. And now, to your point on the Bucs' allegedly excellent defense, I know since over the last 6 weeks of the season, we can show it to you. Their pass defense has been the worst in the league, but I don't care about that.
What about points?
I actually don't care about that.
Okay.
Because I don't even think yesterday was the best game of Purdy's season. I thought he was better against the Cowboys. I know he didn't have the passer rating perfect, but it was like 144 against the Cowboys, and he had a damn near better defense and under a bigger spot. And I thought against the Jags he was exceptional. just a week ago. So I don't even know if this was his best game. Statistically, you could argue it was.
Nick.
Of course.
This wasn't his best
but
game.
But that is not the question. Let me use an analogy that I think you might appreciate. Let's say you have a friend that's thinking about buying a fancy brand new sports car like the one Brew has. And you're like, hey, that's fun, fast. I worry a little bit about it in the rain and a lot in the snow. The guy's like, nope, it's going to be awesome. And they're on the open road and the sun's shining like, this car's awesome. Then they take it out one weekend, it's raining, and they slide off the road. And then the next weekend they take it out and it's snowing and they can't get it out of the driveway. And you're like, I tried to warn you. And then the next weekend they take it out, it's raining and snowing, and they wreck the car.
Okay.
And then the following weekend, the sun's shining, it's 75 degrees, and they're out there flying again. And they call you, they say, told you. I told you this car was great. And I said, yeah, the things I was worried about before, that the first time the rain and the snow would be the analogous to not having all of the Avengers or having to play from behind, I'm still worried about. And that is where my level of consistency on this is unquestioned. Now, we can show you, in fact, can we show you Brock's, I'll give away half the blind reveal, Brock's numbers this year compared to, because people are talking about he is having the best year of anyone in football, and I don't even know if that's true. Hubs, can we show it? Brew, would you at least concede these two numbers are, it's per game, so that's touchdowns per game, then turnovers per game.
Yeah,
one guy's at
similar,
0, you see?
Obviously, yeah.
Okay, very, very similar, right? So let's show it to you. And this is part of my skepticism. That's Jimmy Garoppolo last year.
How many games?
In 4 games with Christian McCaffrey versus Purdy this season. Now I want to show you one more.
So that was Garoppolo for 4 games and Purdy for 10.
Yes,
10.
with all the games okay. Christian McCaffrey, correct. But we now know Jimmy G
I think I can get a 4-game stretch.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll show you.
LaMelo Ball looking
that's
like
fine. Here's
Steph
another
Curry.
one. Would we agree that these numbers, while the yards are different, are very similar in a negative direction? Yeah, right? Okay. That's Jimmy this year, and Purdy in the the games it was raining or snowing.
3 games.
The games where the games where
Rick, you know we could pick 3 games from Mahomes. We could pick 3 games
right, but
of
course,
Lamar.
Those
we could
are
pick
the
3 games
only
from
games,
anybody.
right?
Trevor.
But if the question is, because have I doubted that Brock Purdy can do what he did yesterday? No. Play from ahead and put up great numbers the way Jimmy
How do
G
they
did?
get ahead, though? You act like he has nothing to do with them getting ahead.
So that's the difference.
thing.
I do not act like that, Brew.
Yeah, you do.
No, Brew, I'm saying right now, I don't know why
Does he
you
have
say
anything
that.
to do?
Of course.
Because you act, to me, you come off like when it's 21-0,
No.
Shanahan says,
No.
Purdy,
no,
get in there.
That's where you're mistaken.
No, he helps build the
Of course
league.
he does. I am not doubting that. I am not saying he's a bad football player. I am saying that the things that he will need to do to be the reason this Niners team finally gets over the hump, I do not believe he's going to be able to do.
No, I don't think he's supposed to be the reason.
Well, they've had these pieces before, right? With the reason they haven't been able to go over the hump is quarterback
McCaffrey for
play.
half a year before this.
Sure.
He won his first playoff game. See, with your snow and rain and sleet analogy, I would say the equivalent of that is entering a playoff game as a Mr. Relevant rookie playing against a Seattle team and you throw for 300 yards and 3 touches. I would say the next week when you're facing America's team, the Dallas Cowboys, Dak Prescott, and you go in there and win, I would say that's analogous to some sleep. And I would say coming off the bye week with 3 bad games and everybody pouncing on you and saying you can't play. See, this is what we told you. And coming out and playing 2 fantastic games is the equivalent of some
here's my question. Are either one of you confident? And I'm really curious what you think, Wildes, because you have flip-flopped on this week to week.
Results based.
Are you confident that if the Niners, by some chance, are trailing in the second half of a playoff game, that Purdy won't melt down? Are you
melt down?
Yeah, because he's melting down each time. Really?
Melting down isn't playing poorly.
I don't know why that's the conversation. Here's the numbers on Purdy this season. He's number 1 in completion percentage.
Wow.
He's number 1 in touchdown percentage.
Yeah.
And it used to be like, well, he just, dinking and dunking. But he's number 1 in yards per pass. He's number 1 in passer rating. He's got a 9-point lead on passer rating on Tua.
Yeah.
That's about the difference between Mahomes and who did I look up? A little bit higher than Tommy DeVito. So Mahomes and Tommy DeVito are a little bit further away. But the question is, if there's nothing he can do in the game, then I don't know. We shouldn't be having these conversations.
No,
he's playing perfectly, and you're like, how about in 8 weeks if they're down in the second half?
If they're down late in the game and he doesn't rally them to win, that doesn't mean he melted down.
What about just not throw the ball directly to the other team?
Well, one time, actually, when he did that, two of those times he was concussed.
You're getting tricked
No,
into like
he
this
was concussed.
hypotheticals.
Wildes, it's not hypotheticals. It's what we saw.
Nick,
2 weeks ago.
Okay, 2 weeks ago.
Right.
It's today. We're supposed to do
Nick,
today.
This
2
is
weeks
actually
ago,
what we
Mahomes
saw.
is back.
Nick, hold on. I think you'll agree with me. This is what we saw. We saw him march his team to get them not a 50-yard field goal.
In a game he played terribly in.
A 40-yard field goal.
Browns,
Well, hold on. But if he played great and then didn't march him down, you'd harp on him not marching down. Hold on.
Okay.
So he gets them in a 40-yard field goal.
He was concussed,
the
and then
rookie
he
missed
played
it.
poorly against the Bengals.
So that's right. So what?
So
how are you making a grand statement off
because
two situations that don't even fit a negative?
We don't have any the exact scenario that when he was 5-0 when you were yelling at me about this, and then you agreed with me when they lost 3 straight, and now you're yelling at me about it again. The exact scenario played itself out in different ways 3 weeks in a row. Either guys were missing and or they were trailing late. And in all 3 scenarios, the Niners, who had scored 30 points in every single game of the year, scored 17 and they lost.
You wouldn't give him a pass off being concussed.
If the question is, did Brock Purdy play great yesterday? If that's the conversation you want to have, yes, everyone agrees. If the question is what you put it, which was, am I now going to say, you know what? That answered my questions. I now don't doubt that Purdy is going to be the reason the Niners fall short in the playoffs.
I don't think that's the
answer
question.
Is no. The answer
He's going to be the reason they fall short.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, I got Philly in the NFC, but I'm just saying, I don't think he's going to be the reason they fall short.
Well, I'm curious what it'll end up being.
Could be that defense.
Maybe. Professor Brew, what grade do the Cowboys deserve here?
Well, look, I mean, the novice will just, an A. But I got to bring context, all right? I'm a professor about this. So, Wiles, what were they playing against?
Another group of tomato cans.
They were playing a tomato can like some of these other teams they've beaten. I don't know that we need to bring out all of them.
I don't think we do.
But here's the deal.
Wildes, can you
they weren't only playing a tomato can.
Yeah.
They were playing the king of the tomato cans.
Upside down,
They were playing the kings of the tomato cans. The one-win Carolina Panthers. Now, keep that in mind as I drop these next set of facts.
Okay.
They're playing the king of the tomato cans.
Yes.
The granddaddy of the tomato cans.
Yeah.
And Dak Prescott throws for 189 yards. Hold on 38 attempts? That's 5 yards per attempt. Against the grand poobah of the tomato cans.
Okay.
They lead by 1 score entering the 4th quarter. Against the big kahuna of the tomato cans. They are a team that is 4th worst in the league in rushing. They give up 110 yards on the ground, nearly 5 yards a carry.
Less than 200 yards total.
Look, can that finish my grading?
I don't know,
If you want to do the grading, you can do the grading.
I don't think I can do the grading.
So, look, in light of those facts, I have to bring out something, Nick, that might stun you. It is a D.
Is this defensing?
For Duran.
Oh, you tricked me.
I am nothing if not fair. Duran Bland. Duran, take a bow, my man. You are fantastic. And you tied the NFL record with 4 pick sixes in a season. And now for the Cowboys grade, B+.
Okay.
B+.
All right,
that's
excellent.
B+.
All right, B+ is fine. Again, who am I to parse with Professor Broussard's grading system?
That's good.
I am going to say, once again, I don't know why you did it. You're a little unfair to Dak. When all offseason he was told by you and others take care of the football, take care of the football. And now, when he plays a perfectly clean game, the critique is, why wasn't there more wows when they won 33-10? And I think once again, we are underselling the overall, what the commentary on this player was coming into the year and what his production has been thus far this year. So, Hubs, if we can show Dak's numbers this year, yesterday included, another clean game, he's having, by any metric, an exceptional season. And as far as the question people had going into the year that I know we argued about, which was, can you trust Dak not to turn the ball over? Mm-hmm. And I said, well, the entirety of his career, he was 3 touchdowns to 1 interception, which is one of the best in league history until last year. And then this year, he's back 3 touchdowns to 1 interception. Well, look at that. It is Rodgers, Mahomes, Russ, Brady, and Dak as the highest of all time. And so, right where he's always been. And so I have a prediction for you, Kevin Wildes.
Go.
Tomato cans or not, I think this is going to happen. I think because on Thursday night, Thursday afternoon, Thanksgiving, they're going to carve up the Washington Commanders.
Yeah.
Then I think the next week, on another Thursday night, they're going to beat Seattle on national television.
Okay.
And then on Sunday Night Football, when Dak Prescott is for the seemingly 7th straight game, carving up the Eagles secondary en route to going 10-3, Chris Collinsworth on Sunday Night Football is going to say, that's the MVP of the league. Oh, nice. And that Dak Prescott is going to continue on this. Now, I don't think you can really, I don't know what you think, Wildes. I don't think the Cowboys are probably eligible for an A+ playing the Panthers because on Friday, Bruce said, try to score 60 points.
50.
Well, you said 50 and then you ended up moving it to 60.
Several teams have put 40+ on
Yeah, okay. And so, that's what that's where I think this is headed.
Okay.
Wow.
That's pretty good. Okay. Not ready to groove. 1-4 straight after a 1-5 start. Last 10 years, Broncos, we don't know if they're going to make the playoffs, but the Colts and the Chiefs both made the playoffs. So are the Broncos for real? As a bonus, are they headed to the playoffs?
Well, I do think, here's what I feel like I know. Russell Wilson's for real. I think Russell Wilson's back to being a good quarterback. I don't think he's Russell Wilson with Seattle yet, or if he ever gets back to that. But I do think he's a good quarterback now. And one thing he's done, Nick, throughout his career, he hadn't turned the ball over. He's got 19 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Mm-hmm. That's the number 1 TD to interception ratio in the league. He's always been high among the passer ratings, in the top 5 all time. He's 3rd now in the league in passer rating. So I think Russ is fine. I think the defense is for real. Ironically, after giving up 70 points, here they are since week 7. Look at these ranks. Passing rating 4th in their defense. Look at the giveaways, but opponents' points per game, 17. That's tied for 1st. Lead the league in takeaways in these last 4 games. And then, obviously, the turnover differential. So, look, I think Russ is fine. The defense is fine.
Yep.
Sean Payton, obviously, is a good coach. So I think they do have a chance to make the playoffs. I'm not putting them in there yet, but they control their own destiny, Nick, because here's who they play. Cleveland, Houston, the Chargers twice.
Yeah, they're about to
and then
lose
the Raiders. They're playing the teams that they need to beat, that they're going to be competing with for one of those final few playoff spots. And they beaten the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Vikings. Those are 3 good teams they've beaten. So I think they got a shot for these playoffs.
I also think we got to shout out Sean Payton. After that Dolphins loss, we were like, hey, this defense is an issue. Everyone was ripping defensive coordinator, like, you got to make a change, you got to make a change. He's like, I'm not going to, I'm going to stick with it. And now all of a sudden they're getting all these turnovers, turning right around. So I'm starting to believe in the Broncos.
Well, so listen, I think they're about to lose 3 of their next 4. I think they have less than 10% chance of making the playoffs. I also agree we should give credit to Sean Payton. They didn't let go of the rope. I was highly critical of him. They've done a really good job. They're 99, Brandon Allen on their defense, one of the most underrated players in the league. Cortland Sutton's been excellent. Right. I feel differently about Russ than you in this regard. I think the best case scenario for Denver is to salvage Russ's image enough that he's movable this offseason, that you can trade him.
Somebody going to take on that contract.
Well, again, that would be if Sean Payton wants the best chance at this Broncos tenure to really be able to go under his image, I think you have to find a way to move off Russell Wilson.
But to get who?
To get What do you mean? Oh, specifically?
Yeah, like, they're not obviously now. They're not getting.
I think you draft a quarterback that he is able to mold that is super cheap, and that offsets. Because for a year, if you trade Russ, you're going to be paying that dead cap hit anyway.
Now they're too good.
What do you think they could cut him if they keep playing this way?
Yeah, I mean, I think they could, but I think if he keeps this up, I think someone would take on. I think there are enough quarterback desperate teams that might take on the contract for.
He's got 19 touchdowns and 4 interceptions.
Yeah.
4 minutes ago, we were like, shout out to Dak for not having that
for 19 and 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's where the context of all this stuff matters. Like you guys have watched the Broncos play this year, and I give Russ credit because, like you said, last year he was a disaster, and this year he's not making killer mistakes.
Right, that they're not scoring more touchdowns.
But that's not what the third highest paid player in league history is there for. And so if you're Sean Payton and you want your best chance, I think, of really competing, that would be their best case scenario, that he plays well enough that somebody wants him and that you can move off him. If not, I think you're kind of stuck in the middle in Denver. That's what I think. But I give him credit. I thought they could have been 3-14. So I give him credit. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.